either younger than us or, passed and retired. So why not? I want to challenge myself. The best always looking to fight the best and challenge themselves, and why not, challenge.
Terence Crawford can't beat him, right? This is a money grab for Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy.
But if you study Floyd closely like I have, you will notice that he never wastes any steps while he's in the ring.
During a live interview with Stephen A. Smith, Terence Crawford is said to have accepted Floyd Mayweather's offer of a fight. According to Crawford, boxing is about pushing boundaries and accepting challenges of any size. He is prepared to take the field once more and stresses that the greatest should battle the best. Crawford states with cool assurance that taking on Mayweather is just one more opportunity for him to establish himself and go above and beyond.
Businessman, because this is Terence the businessman talking, right? They got to pay the cheddar to make it better, right?
For sure, for sure. All money ain't good money, so you got to know that.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to use the word easy, but at times it did feel like you were, having a really easy time out there. Were you expecting it to play out that way?
Listen, it's never easy,
Even A. Smith has never held back while reporting about sports, and boxing is no exception. He acknowledges an accomplishment that is uncommon in contemporary boxing as he commends Terence Crawford for becoming a champion in 4 different weight classes. Crawford's ability to dominate at 4 different weights puts him in a unique category in a time when fighters are frequently hesitant to switch divisions due to the hazards involved. Stephen A. emphasizes that Crawford is an all-time great pound-for-pound fighter because of his versatility and superiority. It demonstrates not only his physical versatility but also his technical proficiency, mental fortitude, and will to keep pushing himself in the face of progressively more daunting opponents.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds. Claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab. He used his distance. He had poise in the ring. He wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept his different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part.
Legendary fighter Roy Jones Jr., who has personal experience of what it takes to dominate multiple divisions, has praised Crawford's skill in the ring. He notes that Crawford showed that he could draw on the skill sets of Aries Landela and Floyd Mayweather, 2 fighters who had both caused Canelo Alvarez problems in different ways throughout their bout. Jones claims that what makes Crawford unique is his capacity to observe, research, and then implement successful tactics. It demonstrates that he is a keen student of the sport in addition to being a talented fighter. The thing that most impressed Jones was how Crawford modified these strategies to fit his own rhythm rather than just copying them, which increased their usefulness in real-time scenarios. His versatility sets him apart from other boxers.
As Canelo Alvarez has been a great fighter his whole career, people like Aries Landela gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. But Bud is more fierce, more fearsome, and more angrier and more meaner than both of those guys. So if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there, take that blueprint and do even more with it, which is what Bud did. So it was never a question in my mind whether Bud really was going to outbox me, just if he could take the punch. And right away he showed, bam, he could take the punch. So I know from that point, if he just slow him down, which he did, he'd be okay. Then late in the fight, what other people still didn't see, late in the fight, Bud started hitting Canelo's body. One of those body shots, I think about the 7th or 8th round, hurt Canelo. I was like, whoa. Bud hit him in the right spot then, and he got Canelo's respect with that too. So Bud fought a very, very awesome fight, fought a beautiful fight, very tactical.
Very controlled.
Yes, it was a beautiful fight for boxing.
It was a beautiful fight. Bud got hit with some shots.
He did.
He got hit with some single shots going out. He's going out and Canelo, if he has you trapped in the corner or along the ropes, it's typically 1 to 2 big shots. You know that if you've watched him.
Yep.
So you could tell Crawford, as he was going out, he knew the one shot was coming, and several times it landed. He even got hit with a two-piece. I don't remember what round it was, uppercut right hand that Crawford took well. So when you started seeing him absorb the shots, if you're Team Crawford, you don't want him to take that shot. But if you started seeing that, now you know that, okay. And I think that's what gave Crawford the green light to stay there a little bit longer.
He smiled about it.
He smiled about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that smile can be a lie. And sometimes that smile can mean what I think it meant for Crawford, which is, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
There has been a lot of discussion about Crawford facing Floyd Mayweather, even in an exhibition bout. Critics fear that such a battle may jeopardize Crawford's reputation. They contend that he would be pursuing financial gain rather than competitive glory in place of building on his historic triumphs, like as defeating Errol Spence and outclassing Canelo. This impression results from Mayweather's current career being more focused on lucrative demonstration fights than on significant legacy contests. According to analysts, Crawford has put in too much effort to run the risk of coming across as someone who values money more than history. However, some contend that Crawford's legacy is already safe. Additionally, if he decides to take on Mayweather, it would only add another.
For Terence Crawford, it's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy. This is what was being said, right? This is what people perceived. Terence Crawford was just attempting to cash out.
The discussion gets complicated when supporters contrast Mayweather and Crawford's careers. Floyd has victories on his record against some of the biggest names in the sport. Floyd's detractors, however, frequently draw attention to the timing of his triumphs. When Canelo met Mayweather in 2015, he was still a young, inexperienced fighter, while Pacquiao suffered an injury during their much-awaited bout. Furthermore, many fans had unanswered questions about Floyd's readiness to agree to rematches, especially with Pacquiao. Crawford, on the other hand, has dominated opponents who were thought to be at their best when they faced him. This contrast feeds into never-ending discussions about whether Mayweather's skill or strategic timing and matchmaking were more
Floyd Mayweather is still greater than Terence Crawford. We need to really talk about this now. A lot of you guys are putting Crawford a bit too high. If you want to say Crawford could beat Floyd, I'm more open to that conversation, but when you're lining up the careers, I'm going to say Floyd every time. While they're both 5 division, Bud has become 3-time undisputed, but he's only fought 10 world champions to Floyd's 25 world champions. You can't take away the 5 division, 3-time undisputed. In terms of accolades, yeah, he probably gets the nod over Floyd. I say their accolades are about relative, considering Floyd Mayweather won Fighter of the Decade as well. But when you get to the resumes, Pacquiao, Oscar, Canelo, Cotto, Mosley, Castillo, Marquez, Zab, Gotti, Hatton, and Corley. There's probably way more people that this guy just didn't name. And then when you get to Bud's resume, not saying it's just bad, but the only names that's really worth mentioning is going to be Spence and Canelo. It's not a knock on Bud. Bud was not able to make those fights early on in his career. But I got to tell you guys what it is. Bud's resume just doesn't line up with Floyd's. Take their top 20 wins. Bud don't even got 20 wins to really sit here and name. Floyd got a good 20-something plus. Bud probably got about 10 wins that we could really sit here and name. Floyd's still greater than Bud in my opinion.
Floyd Mayweather's biggest weapon, according to renowned boxing analyst Tony Jeff, was not only his quickness or defense but also his mentality. Jeff claims that Floyd's steadfast conviction that he could defeat anybody was what really made him strong. Mayweather's belief in his superior boxing intelligence always provided him the advantage, even in bouts where the odds appeared to be close. He was different from other fighters who only used physical prowess because of his capacity to read opponents, adjust in a matter of seconds, and remain composed under duress. According to Jeffer, Floyd retired with an impeccable record because of his psychological edge and technical accuracy, which made him seem nearly unbeatable.
Strong mindset, they're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of